In the heart of a small town nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests, there stood a bowling alley, old and weathered, yet filled with an air of mystery. It was called the Haunted Alley by locals, whispered tales of inexplicable happenings circulating through the community like an ominous fog. Despite its eerie reputation, the alley remained open, drawing in curious souls seeking thrills amidst the clatter of pins and the dim glow of neon lights. One autumn evening, a group of friends gathered at a nearby diner, their conversation drifting to the topic of haunted places. As laughter mingled with the scent of coffee and fried food, someone mentioned the haunted alley. Intrigued, they decided to test their courage and spend a night bowling there, daring each other to confront the unknown. Among them was Alex, a skeptic with a penchant for unraveling mysteries. Despite his rational mind, he couldn't shake the allure of the alley's whispered tales. Alongside him were Sarah, the adventurous daredevil, Mark, the joker with a nervous disposition, and Emily, the quiet observer with a fascination for the supernatural. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, they set a date for their midnight bowling adventure, unaware of the chilling ordeal awaiting them. As the appointed night descended, the group arrived at the haunted alley, greeted by the ominous silhouette of the building against the moonlit sky. The air was thick with anticipation as they entered, the familiar scent of stale popcorn mingling with a hint of decay. Inside, the alley seemed frozen in time, the flickering lights casting elongated shadows across scuffed floors. The sound of their footsteps echoed eerily as they made their way to the deserted lanes, the only signs of life being the distant hum of machinery and the occasional creak of aging wood. With a nervous laugh, Mark broke the silence, attempting to lighten the mood as they selected their bowling balls. Sarah, ever the thrill-seeker, challenged them to a game, her enthusiasm infectious despite the underlying unease. As the first ball rolled down the lane, a sense of foreboding descended upon the group. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, a weight pressing down on their shoulders with each frame. Strange occurrences punctuated their game. A sudden gust of cold air, the flicker of lights, and an unsettling whisper that seemed to emanate from the shadows. Despite their mounting apprehension, they pushed on, determined to prove their bravery. But as the clock struck midnight, the alley's true nature began to reveal itself. It started with subtle whispers, barely audible over the clatter of pins and the hum of machinery. Alex, ever the skeptic, dismissed them as tricks of the mind, a byproduct of their overactive imaginations. But as the whispers grew louder, morphing into guttural murmurs that seemed to surround them, even he began to doubt his rational explanations. Sarah's bravado wavered as she felt a chill crawl up her spine, her laughter giving way to nervous glances exchanged with her friends. Mark, usually quick with a joke, fell silent, his eyes darting nervously around the dimly lit alley. Emily, the quietest among them, felt a strange pull tugging at her senses, a sensation she couldn't quite explain. It was as if unseen eyes were watching their every move, their presence looming in the darkness like a specter waiting to strike. As they reached the final frames of their game, the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, suffocating in its intensity. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, sending shivers down their spines as they struggled to maintain their composure. And then it happened. A deafening roar echoed through the alley, shaking the very foundations of the building. The lights flickered and dimmed, plunging them into darkness as a wave of primal fear washed over them. In the midst of the chaos, Alex's rational mind kicked into overdrive, searching for a logical explanation to the inexplicable. But as he groped blindly in the darkness, his fingers brushing against something cold and clammy, he realized they were no longer alone. With a gasp, Sarah stumbled backward, her heart pounding in her chest as she fought to regain her bearings. Mark's trembling voice cut through the darkness, his words choked with fear as he struggled to make sense of their situation. Emily, her senses heightened by an otherworldly intuition, felt a presence looming just beyond the veil of darkness. With a trembling hand, she reached out, her fingers brushing against icy tendrils that seemed to coil around her like a vise. As they huddled together, their breaths coming in ragged gasps, a faint glow pierced the darkness, a flicker of light emanating from the far end of the alley. With newfound determination, they made their way toward it, their steps faltering as they confronted the source of the eerie illumination. Before them stood a figure shrouded in darkness, its form shifting and twisting like smoke in the night. Its eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, fixing them with a stare that sent shivers down their spines. As the figure stepped forward, its features became clearer. A face twisted in agony, its mouth contorted into a silent scream that echoed through the alley like a banshee's wail. With each step, it seemed to draw closer, its presence suffusing the air with an oppressive weight that threatened to crush them. In the face of this unearthly apparition, fear threatened to consume them whole. But as they stood their ground, a glimmer of defiance sparked within their hearts, a determination to confront the unknown and emerge unscathed. With a collective breath, they confronted the figure, their voices rising in a chorus of defiance against the darkness. And as they did, the alley seemed to tremble, its walls groaning under the weight of centuries-old secrets. And then, with a deafening roar, the figure dissipated into the ether, leaving behind nothing but a lingering sense of dread. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the group emerged from the alley, their hearts heavy with the weight of their shared ordeal. In the days that followed, the group struggled to make sense of their harrowing experience. Despite their rational minds' attempts to dismiss it as a trick of the imagination, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had encountered something beyond the realm of the natural world. Their midnight bowling adventure had left an indelible mark on their souls, a reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown. And as they returned to their daily lives, they carried with them the knowledge that some mysteries are best left unsolved. As for the haunted alley, it remained a beacon of curiosity for thrill seekers and skeptics alike, its whispered tales drawing in brave souls eager to confront the darkness that lurked within its walls. But for Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Emily, their encounter had taught them a valuable lesson, that sometimes the true horror lies not in the unknown, but in the depths of our own fears. And as they moved forward, they did so with a newfound appreciation for the fragility of the human spirit and the power of camaraderie in the face of adversity. Months passed, and the memory of their terrifying night at the haunted alley began to fade, overshadowed by the demands of everyday life. Yet, a lingering unease remained, a silent reminder of the inexplicable horrors they had faced. Then, one fateful evening, as autumn's chill settled once again over the town, Alex received a cryptic message, an invitation to return to the haunted alley, this time under the cloak of darkness. It bore no sender, no explanation, only a date and time, daring him to confront his fears once more. Though hesitant, curiosity gnawed at Alex's resolve, urging him to unravel the mystery that had haunted them for so long. With a mixture of trepidation and determination, he reached out to Sarah, Mark, and Emily, proposing they return to the alley and uncover the truth behind its sinister reputation. Despite their initial reluctance, the group ultimately agreed, drawn together by a shared desire to confront the demons of their past. As the appointed night drew near, they prepared themselves for what lay ahead, steeling their nerves against the unknown. With hearts pounding in their chests, Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Emily stood once again before the looming facade of the haunted alley. The air hung heavy with anticipation as they crossed the threshold, the familiar scent of stale popcorn mingling with the musty odor of neglect. Inside, the alley lay cloaked in darkness, the only illumination emanating from the faint glow of neon lights casting eerie shadows against the walls. The sound of their footsteps echoed through the empty space, each footfall a reminder of the haunting memories that lingered within. Gathering their courage, they made their way to the deserted lanes, the dim light casting long shadows across scuffed floors. As they prepared to bowl, a sense of foreboding settled over them, the air thick with the weight of their shared apprehension. With a shaky breath, Alex rolled the first ball down the lane, the sound of pins clattering against the wood echoing through the silence. But as the ball struck its target, a chill swept through the alley, sending shivers down their spines. As they continued to bowl, strange occurrences began to unfold once more, each more unsettling than the last. The lights flickered and dimmed, casting the alley into darkness before flickering back to life with an otherworldly glow. Sarah's laughter turned to nervous giggles, her bravado crumbling in the face of the unknown. Mark's jokes fell flat, his voice trembling with fear as he struggled to maintain his composure. And Emily, ever the silent observer, felt a sense of dread wash over her, a premonition of horrors yet to come. With each frame, the tension mounted, a palpable presence lingering in the air like a shadow waiting to strike. And then, just as before, it happened. A deafening roar shook the alley, reverberating through the very foundations of the building. As the group huddled together, their hearts pounding in their chests, they knew that they were not alone. The figure from their previous encounter materialized before them, its form twisted and contorted in agony as it loomed over them like a specter of death. With a collective gasp, Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Emily stood their ground, their eyes fixed on the apparition before them. Though fear threatened to consume them, they refused to back down, their courage bolstered by the strength of their bond. As the figure advanced, its presence suffusing the air with a malevolent energy, they knew that they had but one chance to confront the darkness that lurked within the haunted alley. With a shared nod, they stepped forward, their voices rising in unison as they challenged the entity before them. And then, as if by some unseen force, the figure faltered, its form flickering like a dying flame before dissipating into the ether. In its wake, a sense of peace settled over the alley, the oppressive atmosphere lifting like a veil lifted from their minds. With the darkness vanquished, Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Emily found themselves standing alone in the alley once more, their hearts pounding with exhilaration and relief. As they exchanged knowing glances, they realized that they had uncovered the truth behind the haunted alley's sinister reputation. For hidden beneath its weathered facade lay not a den of malevolence, but a sanctuary for lost souls, a place where the echoes of the past lingered, waiting to be heard. And though their journey had been fraught with terror and uncertainty, it had ultimately led them to a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. As they emerged from the haunted alley, bathed in the soft glow of dawn, they knew that their lives would never be the same, for they had faced their fears head-on and emerged stronger for it, bound together by a shared experience that would forever unite them in friendship and courage. And as they walked into the light of a new day, they knew that no matter what horrors awaited them in the future, they would face them together, armed with the knowledge that even in the darkest of nights, there is always hope.